The diner was almost empty, neon lights buzzing softly, coffee gone cold on the counter. Maria Thompson wiped her hands on her apron and glanced at the clock, 2:47 a.m. Another double shift done. Another night without sleep. Another day closer to exhaustion she could no longer name. If you've ever wondered how far a mother can go for love, stay with this story until the end. And if stories like this move your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because this one will stay with you long after it ends. Maria was 42, but the mirror said older. Her eyes carried years of fatigue, her hands rough from work, her back aching in ways doctors warned her about. For 7 years straight, she worked double shifts, 5 days a week, sometimes 6. Morning at the hospital cafeteria, night at a roadside diner off Interstate 80 in Ohio. Everyone noticed. "Maria, you'll kill yourself at this rate," said Linda, her coworker at the diner. "Why don't you slow down?" asked her manager more than once. "Your son's grown now," neighbors whispered. "You don't have to work like this." Maria always smiled. "I'm fine," she'd say. "Just trying to get ahead." But that wasn't the truth. Maria lived in a small, rented house with peeling paint and a porch that creaked with every step. Her son, Ethan, was the only thing in that house that felt alive. He was 19 now, smart, quiet, carrying a gentleness that reminded Maria of his father, Daniel, who had died in a construction accident when Ethan was just 6. From that day on, Maria had promised herself one thing. "My son will never feel trapped by money." Ethan dreamed of becoming an aerospace engineer. He talked about NASA, space shuttles, and stars with the kind of wonder most people lose by adulthood. Scholarships helped, but not enough. Tuition, books, housing, lab fees, it all added up faster than Maria could count. So she worked. And worked. And worked. She missed birthdays. She missed school events. She missed sleep. When Ethan graduated high school as valedictorian, Maria watched from the back row in her cafeteria uniform, tears running down her face as her hands ached from clapping. "This is why," she whispered to herself. "This is why." But years of sacrifice don't come without a price. One afternoon, Maria collapsed at work. It wasn't dramatic, no screaming, no sirens at first. Just a sudden dizziness, a ringing in her ears, and then the floor rushing up to meet her. She woke up in a hospital bed, ironically the same hospital where she served food every morning. Severe exhaustion. High blood pressure. Signs of heart strain, the doctor said gently. "You can't keep doing this." Ethan stood beside the bed, pale and shaking. "Mom," he said, his voice cracking, "why didn't you tell me it was this bad?" Maria looked away. "Because you needed to focus on school." That night, after she fell asleep, Ethan went home alone. He didn't mean to snoop. He was just looking for insurance papers. But in the back of her closet, under old coats and shoes, he found it. An envelope. Thick. Yellowed. Worn at the edges. His name written on the front in his mother's handwriting. "For Ethan, open only if I can't work anymore." His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside were documents. Bank statements. Receipts. Letters. And then the truth hit him like a wave. Maria had been quietly paying off something else all these years. Medical bills. Not hers. His. When Ethan was 10, doctors had found an early-stage heart condition. Surgery was successful, but insurance only covered part of it. The rest? Over $180,000 in debt. Maria never told him. She refinanced, took loans, worked double shifts, and paid every single dollar herself. There was also a second letter. "Ethan. If you're reading this, it means I couldn't protect you by staying silent anymore. I worked so hard not just so you could dream, but so your future would be clean. No debt. No fear. No limits. If I'm tired, it's because love doesn't rest. I'm proud of you, more than words can say. Love, Mom. Ethan sat on the floor and cried like he hadn't since he was a child. The next morning, he made a decision. He took a leave from school, not to quit, but to fight back. He shared Maria's story online, not naming her at first, just telling the truth about a mother who worked herself to the edge so her son could fly. The response was overwhelming. People donated. Local news picked it up. The hospital forgave part of the debt. A foundation offered Maria financial counseling and support. And then, something Maria never expected happened. NASA's partnered scholarship program reached out. Ethan had been selected. Full ride. Tuition. Housing. Everything. The day the letter arrived, Maria held it in her shaking hands. "I don't understand," she whispered. Ethan hugged her tightly. "You don't have to anymore, Mom." Maria didn't work double shifts after that. She still worked, but she lived too. She slept. She laughed. She watched Ethan launch his first research project. She learned that sacrifice doesn't have to mean disappearance, and that sometimes, love returns in ways you never planned. Years later, when Ethan stood at a NASA facility, looking up at a rocket preparing for launch, Maria stood beside him. "This is because of you," he said. She smiled, tears in her eyes. "No," she said softly. "This is because you never stopped dreaming." And that envelope? It stayed with Ethan forever, not as proof of pain, but as proof that behind every success story, there is often someone quietly working double shifts, powered only by love. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.